Can you talk more about your hitting approach for 8-year-olds, the philosophy, the lingo, etc.? Everyone with a YouTube channel these days is an expert hitting guru all of a sudden, and it's hard for parents to decipher quality instruction from a money grab. Well, I think that's true, and I think that's interesting because everyone wants to talk about hitting and put their philosophies. And you're watching some guys on YouTube, and then you watch the MLB Network, and people are talking about all these different things. And I had a question down here from the other day that Steve and I wrote down. A guy came into our facility, and he had a 9-year-old son, and he said, "What type of launch angle do you guys teach?" And we're like, and I just listened to him like, "What do you mean by that?" Obviously, I knew what he meant, but I wanted to understand more of what he was really asking. So he's like, "Yeah, everyone's talking about launch angle. Like, what kind of launch angle do you teach?" And a launch angle is a type of angle in which the ball is hit. So every ball you hit has a launch angle. So whether you hit a ground ball, a fly ball, a pop-up, everything has angles to it. So when you're trying to teach players how to crush line drives and barrel balls, that's what you're trying to teach. So I got some of this stuff off the internet, and it said a ground ball is less than 10 degrees. A line drive is between 10 and 25 degrees. A fly ball is 25 to 50 degrees, and a pop-up is greater than 50. The average big league launch angle is 11.83. So it's a line drive, 11.83. Former American League MVP Josh Donaldson, his launch angle in 2017 when he won the MVP was 13 degrees. So you're talking a rocket line drive, right? And if you're swinging on the big field and you're hitting the ball under 80 miles an hour, those fly balls that are over 25 are going up, and they're only going as far as they can. Those guys on TV are hitting the ball 115 miles an hour. So that same 25-degree launch angle at 115 miles an hour is getting launched over the fence. A 70-mile-an-hour launch angle at that is barely clearing the outfield. So it's like you have to be careful with, if you're teaching an 8-year-old how to hit a ball like this and everything he's doing is popping up, well, it might look good in the batting cage, but then you go on the field and everything's a pop-up to the infield. So trying to take the ball and take the bat and trying to smoke line drives and hitting them on the barrel and hitting good line drives that are getting fired to the back of the net. I also like to say where the L screen is, the top part of the L screen. If you're smoking line drives into that, that's about a 15-degree launch angle, which is a line drive. So if you're wearing out the top part of the L screen, that's a good hit. If you're hitting the ball in the bottom of the ground, can they still be hits? Yeah. A ground ball can still go through the infield. It can still be a hit. The key is that you're trying to hit the ball hard. And so when a guy says, what launch angle do you teach? It's a guy that doesn't know much about hitting because every ball has a launch angle. We're trying to teach the line drive. It's 10 to 25 degrees, whatever, and we're trying to put that in a kid's head, like, and having them think about, I wonder what my launch angle was. It's just a metric. It's something that you're trying to attain a line drive. Nowadays they say 15 degrees, and that is a line drive. I think it's important too that you have to listen to the players talk, and you have to listen to their thought process at the plate and what they're feeling. I hear a lot real versus feel. So what do you feel like you're doing versus what are you really doing up there? And, for me, I was a player that I just tried to hit backspin line drives right at the second baseman. I listened to Ken Griffey Jr., probably one of the best home run hitters of all time, thinking about hitting the top half of the baseball and trying to hit a low line drive up the middle. I'm sure you guys have all seen Mike Trout. He does high tee before the game, and he thinks very direct. And you watch these guys do drills that don't look like their in-game swing. So even though they might be thinking straight down, Barry Bonds, best home run hitter of all time, thought down, right? You watch him do some top hand stuff, and you listen to these guys talk, and what they are really doing versus what they feel like they're doing is completely different. So, we can't teach every hitter to think the same way or to feel the same thing. We can teach certain body movements that are key and crucial to a swing, getting to a balanced launch position, keeping your bat in the hitting zone for a long time. I think everybody's different. So, when I hear questions like, what kind of a launch angle do you teach? Or do you teach the turn the barrel method?
it all depends on that player. So I need to get in that player's head first, understand what they're thinking about, understand what they're feeling, understanding where their miss is in games, you know, and then just developing a confident hitter. So I think Duke touched on that perfectly. And Joey, to answer the, you know, the first part about your question about what is your hitting approach for 8-year-olds, I think the biggest thing with 8-year-olds is they have to be on time and they have to be aggressive, right? You're 8. You're not going to hit a lot of homers. You're not going to leave the yard, but you have to find a way to get yourself on time and take good aggressive swings, right? That's with no strikes. That's with 1 strike. Now with 2 strikes, our goal is to do whatever we can to extend that at bat 1 more pitch. And it's something that my 15-year-old team was struggling with. We did a great job of it weekend 1. And then the last 2 weeks, we struggled a little bit. You know, we're taking borderline pitches. We're blaming the umpire. You know, I think that was down or that was outside. And regardless of where we thought that pitch was, the umpire called it a strike. And it was way too close to take it for strike 3. So last night at practice, we got in the batting cages. You know, we did our warm-up rounds. And then we did 0-2 counts. How long can you stay in the cage? How many balls can you foul off? And before you know it, the guys are outside the cage cheering each other on. Oh, I just fouled off 11 straight pitches. That's an awesome at bat. So, you know, when you're talking to your team, you know, when we have no strikes, we're trying to hammer a line drive somewhere. We're going to be on time. We're going to be aggressive. When we have a strike, it's the same thing. We're still up there. We're trying to hammer it. We're trying to be aggressive. And when we get to 2 strikes, whatever I got to do, I'm going to extend this pitch 1 more, or extend this at bat 1 more pitch. I'm going to make this pitcher work for it. And then you start to get that culture of just tough hitters, right? On time, aggressive. That would be my best piece of advice for managing 8-year-olds. You know, obviously, if you have kids with swing flaws, you can work with it on the side. But I really don't like the, you know, teach everybody to feel and do and act the same exact way in the batter's box. I think, you know, talking to them individually and developing an individual routine for your guys and their flaws, and, you know, understanding what makes them tick. Some guys, our cleanup hitter, I asked him last night. He came in for a lesson, and he has been crushing the ball. He's got about 15 doubles. And I asked him last night in our lesson, what are you thinking about, man? Like, where's your head at right now? What are you thinking about up in the batter's box? He goes, man, I'm just trying to swing as hard as I can. Perfect. I'm not trying to change anything. The kid's crushing the ball. Like, if that works for him, great. You know, other kids might say, well, I'm just trying to hit a hard ground ball up the middle. Great. Other kids might say, I'm trying to hit a homer. If it's working, it's working. And I'm not going to tell you have to change anything. So I think it's really important to understand the individual, understand their thought process, what their real versus feel is, and you know, develop individual routines for them that way. But I think that's an awesome question. You know, and 8-year-olds, it's being on time, it's being aggressive, it's believing themselves, and having fun.